Eddie wasn't such a very good movie. Hello, welcome back to James Ramen Reviews for yet another episode. In today's episode, I'm actually going to be reviewing for you Venom The Last Dance. And yes, I tried my best to do that Venom impression because, I wanted to kind of set the tone that I'm going to be reviewing Venom The Last Dance. So before we get into this review, I'm actually going to give you a bit of context into my thoughts of the other two Venom movies, but that'll be getting a little bit interesting because I haven't actually rewatched those movies and I didn't decide to review them because I feel like with the Venom franchise, you don't need a lot of basic knowledge to understand what goes on because most of the time it's just about Eddie and Brock and how they have, well, not Eddie and Brock, Eddie, Brock, and Venom have this relationship, this comedic satire, crazy, cheesy kind of bromance kind of thing, and so there's that. But I do think that Venom the Let There Be Carnage was actually quite a good movie, or just quite a really entertaining movie. It was one of those Marvel movies where it was in that era of Marvel where they were starting to lose the sense of actually making really good movies. But then in the same year they had Venom Let There Be Carnage, and that was a surprisingly good movie because you would expect that the sequel to a movie, not every sequel is that great, but I actually absolutely enjoyed that movie, and so I'm not going to go too much onto that one because this is about the third film. So, the third movie, without spoiling it, is pretty much the finale of this franchise, hence the fact that it's called Venom The Last Dance. And so in this movie, you do have the return of Eddie Brock and Venom, and they go onto this journey. They pretty much embark on a new journey while kind of showing there is a couple references to some prior films in this film, but it's not one of those movies where you have to go out and rewatch the other movies to understand this one, like I said. So there is that about it, and so they go on this journey. It's like this new journey where they figure out that there is actually more to not the Venom world, but to the symbiote universe as you do get to see these other versions of symbiotes, different colours, and so there's that, and I won't spoil what that is because if you watch the movie you'll kind of understand where that goes. So there is that, and the other vacant thing about the film is the fact that you have the villain called Null in the film, and so I'll get into all of that, but that is what I would say is kind of what the plot is about. You have the finale of the franchise, then you have the symbiotes, and then you have Null, and then you have, there's another little thing in here with these other characters as well, so there's quite a few things going on in this film, and so watched it last night, and so how did I think about Venom The Last Dance? So, without sugarcoating this one, I absolutely enjoyed this movie. I actually think this is one of my most favourite movies of this year, because honestly, it is not that hard for me to enjoy the Venom movies. As I said and established, I loved Let There Be Carnage. It was just a really fun, daft movie. Who honestly, I don't even care what they did to Carnage and they ruined his character because I didn't even read the comics. I just love the cheesiness and the craziness that came with that movie. And so the fact that they continued that with this movie while having a different villain, and yes, what they do with the villain in this movie, there's not enough of Null, and that's not even a spoiler, because, when you start watching the movie, you do start to notice that this movie is all about the ending of you'd have Eddie and Venom and stuff like that. So I've said that a few times, but that is pretty much what you can say about it. So other than that, right, let's go back and say that. The movie is pretty funny, I am not going to lie, because every scene is just really, really fun, and you can tell that, Tom Hardy, played by Eddie Brock, and a bit of Venom in there and all that kind of stuff. You can tell that by this point he's getting so used to doing this stuff that he's like, yeah, I know how to make the crowd laugh, know how to time these jokes well, and they even go the extra mile to use the environment that they have with the Venom type of gimmick, you know what I mean? Because the Venom actually turns into the horse, so it morphs inside of the horse, and then you have it going to jump on the frog, and it starts morphing itself into the frog, and then you have all of these scenes where it's like, that's really fun, that's really entertaining, that's exactly what I was expecting, and, well, what I was wanting out of it, kind of thing. And I thought the movie was really, really well paced. A lot of it, they got it really well paced, and it got to a good size of running time that you're like, yeah, the movie's ended and I'm good to go. However, I don't think I mentioned this, but the very, very last post-credit scene is probably the one you just want to go out of the cinema and just go back and go to your car, get the bus home or whatever you're going to do. Because I feel like with that, there's not much that it adds to the movie, and it doesn't do a lot there. And so I know what I said about Null and how he was barely a part of the story, but what is the same with like Carnage. I never read the comics with Null as well. So the fact that there's barely any Null in the movie and they just kind of tease it, and it's like, he's Null, oh, he's a silly Nully who owns all these symbiotes. It's like, yeah, okay, whatever. That I don't really mind that. That's built into this formula. That's baked into this formula we have for this movie. So yeah, that's my review. I would give this movie a strong 9 out of 10. People that do not like the Venom franchise and just think it's just silly and it's not accurate to the comics would probably think I'm a crazy psychopath. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this review. I had to record this a couple times because my first recording was a bit too long, and I feel like this is my more natural experience that I had with the movie. So yeah, bye. This definitely will not be the last dance that you will see me in a video. Bye.